Don't go for looks, they can deceive. Don't go for wealth, even that fades away. Go for someone who makes you smile, because it takes only a smile to make a dark day seem bright. Tunde sat on the edge of the soft grey bed in his Kuyi penthouse, his hands shaking, even though the air conditioner was cold. His wife, Kemi, walked in quietly, the silk tie of her robe brushing her knees. She smiled, then opened the bedside drawer and brought out a small silver pack. She held it up like a rule. "We must use this," she said, calm and firm. Tunde's heart beat fast like a drum in a funeral. He loved his wife. He wanted a baby so much his chest hurt. He had waited 1 year. Every time, the same thing. Always insisting we use contraceptives. Tonight, too, he tried to smile. He tried to be brave. But when Kemi tore the edge of the pack and set it on the pillow, something snapped inside him. "Why, Kemi?" he whispered. "Why always?" She looked at him for 3 long seconds. Her smile fell away. "Because I must," she said, almost like a warning. "Please do not ask me again." The room felt smaller. The city lights of Lagos shone through the glass wall. The distant hum of mainland bridge sounded like a low drum. Tunde stared at the condom. He wanted to throw it away. He wanted to trust her. He wanted to believe that love could solve everything. But his mind filled with questions. Why must? Why not want? Why did her voice sound like a rule she could not break? He reached for her hand. "Kemi, tell me, I am your husband." Kemi pulled back gently. "Tunde, please. Not tonight." Her eyes were soft, but there was fear in them. Not fear of him, fear of something else, something bigger, something he could not see. And then just as he opened his mouth to argue, the doorbell rang. They both froze. Who would visit at this hour? Kemi quickly dropped the silver pack into the drawer and covered it with a scarf. "I will check," she said, walking out. Tunde sat still, staring at the drawer, at the scarf, at the place where the silver pack hid. His pulse pounded in his ears. He heard low voices in the hallway. He could not make out the words. A minute later, Kemi returned with a small brown envelope in her hand. She did not look surprised. She did not look angry. She looked careful. "Wrong address," she said lightly. "The guard will return it." But she did not hand him the envelope. She slipped it into her robe pocket. Right then, Tunde knew something was not right. Grab your popcorn as we dive into this story in details. If you're new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications to be the first to know when we post new stories. The first time Kemi had brought out the silver pack was their wedding night. The music from the small after-party in Vicky Island was still in their heads. Friends had danced. Parents had prayed. It was a happy day. In their hotel room, Kemi had opened her purse and brought out the same small pack. Tunde had asked, surprised, "You know, we just got married and would want a child." She had smiled and said, "Please, for now, trust me." He had trusted her. He always trusted her. Tunde was a billionaire, young, careful, and humble. He ran his father's logistics company across Lagos ports to Apopa. He believed in doing things right. He believed in patience and prayers, so he said nothing. But months turned to a year. Every time, the same rule, and every month, when Kemi's cycle passed without a change, Tunde swallowed his sadness and told himself, soon. Then came the small signs that did not fit. Kemi never allowed him to throw the silver pack away himself. She would take it quickly, tie it in a black bag, and put it in the bathroom bin by herself. She wore a slim red thread on her left ankle at night. If he touched it, she would gently move her leg away, smiling as if it did not matter, but still moving away. Sometimes, just before bed, she would sit in the living room with the lights low and whisper a short chant under her breath. The words were soft and too fast for him to catch. When he asked, she said, "It is just a bedtime prayer." In the day, Kemi was kind and warm. She ran a big art studio in Lekki, Phase 1, and taught children how to paint. Parents loved her. Children loved her. She cooked Tunde's favorite fisherman's soup and set his phone reminders to call his mother every Sunday. She was, in every way, a good wife, but at night the thread stayed on her ankle. The silver pack stayed by the bed. One afternoon, when Tunde took his driver to service the car in Ilopegu, he sat alone in the waiting room and called his friend, Emeka, who owned a clinic in Vicky Island. "Brother," Tunde said, trying to sound casual, "what if a man has been trying to have a child for a year and nothing is happening?" Emeka laughed softly. "That man should come for tests." "I did," Tunde said. "Last month. You said I am fine. Then your wife should also check," Emeka replied. "Both of you should check. Together." Tunde looked at his shoes. "She is fine," he said after a pause. "She prefers protection. Every time." There was silence. Then Emeka said, slower this time, "Why? I do not know." "Ask her," Emeka said. "Ask her with love. There is a reason." Tunde went home early that day. He bought Kemi sunflowers from a florist in Kuyi, the ones she liked. They ate jollof rice with grilled fish on the balcony. The sunset made the sky orange. They laughed about a silly video he had seen on his phone. It was a soft, safe moment. Then he asked, "Kemi, my love, is there anything I should know?" Her smile trembled. She looked at the flowers, then at him. "Tunde," she said, "if I tell you, you will not smile again." He took her hands. "I want the truth." She pulled her hands away and stood up. "Not tonight," she whispered, and went inside. That night, she wore the red thread again. Kemi turned off the light and lay beside him. She placed her head on his shoulder. "I love you," she said. "I love you too," he answered. But sleep did not come. When her breathing slowed, Tunde sat up quietly. The soft glow from the city slipped through the curtains. He stared at the bedside drawer. He looked at Kemi's ankle. The red thread was there, neat and tight. He stood, moved to the living room, and picked up his phone. He sent a message to the estate security. "Who came upstairs at 10:20 twop? Please confirm." The guard replied, "Good evening, sir." A courier dropped a hand-delivered envelope. Madam took it. "Says it was expected." Tunde's chest felt heavy. He walked to the kitchen to drink water. On the way back, he noticed something on the coffee table under a magazine. A small wooden box he had never seen, carved with circles and tiny triangles. It looked old. It looked like something people passed down in families with careful hands. He touched the lid. It was warm, as if someone had held it a minute ago. He opened it. Inside lay three things: folded white cloth with a faint oil stain, a fresh red thread cut to ankle size, and a tiny bottle with a gold cap. On the bottle, in tiny printed letters, were the words, "Do not break, do not spill." His hands shook. He put everything back exactly as he found it and closed the lid. He carried the box to the bedroom, heart racing, and slid it back under the magazine. He stood there, looking at sleeping Kemi. He loved her. But now his fear had a shape. Morning came with bright light and the noise of city birds on the balcony. Kemi dressed in a simple blue dress for the studio. She made oat porridge and placed a glass of zobo by his plate. She was careful and sweet. When he asked about the envelope, she smiled like yesterday never happened. "It was a mix-up," she said. "Already returned." He nodded, though he did not believe it. Before she left, she came close and kissed his cheek. He saw a flicker of worry in her eyes again, like a cloud across the Sunday. "I will be back before evening," she said. "Okay," he replied. "I may stop by the office on the island." When the door closed, Tunde picked up his phone and called someone he had not spoken to in years, Mama Tola, his late grandmother's friend from Surlier. She was old and wise, and she knew old and deep things people did not say out loud. "Mama," he said when she answered, "please, can I see you today?" Her voice was gentle. "Come, bring only your heart. Leave your pride at home." At noon, Tunde drove himself through Fallon Bridge, then past National Stadium, into a quiet street in Surlier. Mama Tola's house smelled like hibiscus and fresh bread. She looked at him with kind eyes that saw too much. "Sit," she said. "You carry heavy questions." He told her about the silver pack, about the red thread, about the wooden box, about the bottle with the gold cap. He did not tell her about the envelope, because he felt, somehow, that the box mattered more. Mama Tola listened without a sound. When he finished, she closed her eyes and hummed something low. Then she spoke, each word slow and clear. "Some women make promises they do not understand," she said. "But they have tied their soul to a circle that does not like to be broken." Tunde's hands became cold. "What circle?" "A covenant," she said softly. "Not with God." The room felt too still. "What does it mean?" he asked. "It means," she said, opening her eyes, "there is a reason your wife says, 'I must.' And there is a price. When must becomes cannot." He swallowed. "How do I help her?" Mama Tola looked at his wedding ring and then at his face. "First, do not fight her. Fear grows when you fight. Second, bring me the box you saw. But listen to me, Tunde. Do not open the bottle. Do not spill it. And if you have already opened it—" "I have not," he said quickly. "Good," she whispered. "Then bring it to me before sunset." Gudid to Strex, Tunde stood up at once. "I will go now." He drove back fast, mind loud with hope and fear. When he reached the penthouse, he ran inside and went straight to the coffee table. The magazine was there. The table was scattered. The wooden box was there. Tunde froze. His breath stuck in his throat. He turned toward the bedroom. The bedside drawer was open. The scarf was gone. The silver pack was gone. On the pillow lay the brown envelope from last night. Now unsealed, and inside, a small white card with a red circle drawn in the middle and a short line below it. "Tonight, 11:30 p.m. Alone." Goat. He stared at the clock. It was 11:12 am. His phone buzzed. It was Kemi. Her text was only 5 words. "Please, do not follow me." Tunde's thumb hovered above the screen. His heart pounded so hard it hurt. He typed back one word, "Why?" But he did not send it. He looked at the card again. He thought of the bottle with the gold cap. He thought of the word Mama Tola had used. He dreamed of every night. The apartment was silent, but the silence was heavy, like smoke filling his lungs. Tunde sat back on the sofa. He wanted to call Kemi immediately, demand answers. But her last text replayed in his mind. "Please, do not follow me." His phone buzzed again. This time it was Emeka, his friend at the clinic. "Brother, I was just thinking about our talk," Emeka said. "Listen, you should bring your wife for a scan. Sometimes, women..." Emeka. Tunde cut him off, his voice low and strained. "What if it's not medical? What if it's something else? Something old?" The line was quiet for a moment. Then Emeka said carefully, "Tunde, Lagos is full of stories. Don't let fear drive you. If you need me, call. I'm here." Tunde ended the call and sat in the dim living room, staring at the city lights far below. His empire of trucks and containers meant nothing to him now. The only thing that mattered was the truth about his wife. Hours crawled by. The clock ticked toward evening. Tunde paced the apartment like a lion trapped in a cage. At 8:45 p.m., his phone lit up with a message from his wife. "I am at Kuyi Cemetery. Do not come, please. I will be back soon." Tunde's blood ran cold. A cemetery? What business could his wife possibly have there? His mind raced. Should he follow and risk everything? He picked up the wooden box, holding it close. It felt heavier than before, as though it carried more than wood and oil. He thought of Mama Tola's words, "Bring me the box before sunset." He had failed already. Now the sun was gone. At 10:15 p.m., he put on a plain black shirt and trousers, slipped the box into a leather bag, and drove himself out of the estate. By 11:20 p.m., he parked a short distance from Kuyi Cemetery. The place looked abandoned. its gates rusted, its walls covered in weeds. The night air smelled of damp earth and something faintly metallic, like rust or blood. He stepped out. The moonlight gave the gravestones a pale glow. In the distance, he saw faint lanterns flickering and shadows moving slowly in a circle. Voices murmured in a strange chant, low and rhythmic. And there at the center of the circle stood Kemi, his wife. She wore a plain white gown, her bare feet dusted with sand. She held her hands out as if offering something invisible. Her face looked calm, almost too calm, like she had left fear behind. Tunde's chest tightened. He wanted to run to her, to pull her away, but his legs refused to move. A tall figure stepped out of the circle, dressed in a long black robe. His voice boomed across the graveyard. Kemi, daughter of the circle, tonight you must renew or release. Choose carefully. To renew is to keep the covenant. To release is to pay the price. Tunde's heart hammered against his ribs. He did not understand, but he knew one thing. Whatever choice she made, it would decide not only her future, but his too. And then Kemi turned her head slightly. Her eyes met Tunde's across the distance. She should not have seen him in the shadows, but she did. Her lips moved silently. One word, go. The circle stopped chanting. Heads turned. The lantern light shifted. They had seen him, and in that frozen moment, the man in the robe raised his hand. The lanterns flared brighter, and a voice, deeper than human, echoed across the cemetery. He is not meant to be here. The shadows moved toward him. Tunde's breath caught in his throat as the shadows advanced, their lanterns swaying like restless spirits. His instincts screamed at him to run, but his feet were locked in place. The graveyard air grew heavier, pressing on his chest as if Logos itself had gone silent. Kemi, the man in the black robe boomed, his deep voice shaking the ground beneath them. Your husband has broken the boundary. The circle does not forgive interruptions. Kemi stepped forward, her hands trembling now. Please, do not touch him. He is innocent. Innocent? The voice thundered. He has seen what was not for his eyes. He has carried what was not his to carry. The box. Where is it? Tunde's hand tightened on the leather bag. The wooden box inside seemed to throb against his palm, like a beating heart. His mind screamed at him. Run. Protect it. Kemi turned toward him, her eyes wide with fear. Tunde, listen to me. Don't open it. Don't even show it. Please. The circle closed tighter. Men and women dressed in plain white gowns swayed and whispered strange chants. The air smelled of burning herbs, sharp and bitter. Tunde finally found his voice. What is this, Kemi? What covenant have you made? She shook her head, tears glistening. I never meant to bring you here. I never wanted you to know. The man in the robe raised his hand, and the chanting stopped. You must choose, Kemi. Renew the covenant and keep him safe, or release it and pay the price. Tunde's heart pounded. Renew what? Pay what? Tell me. But Kemi's lips trembled. She whispered so softly, only he could hear. If I release, I lose you. If I renew, I lose the hope of us having children. Tunde staggered backward, her words stabbing into him. Having children? What are you saying? Before Kemi could answer, two of the robed figures surged forward, their hands outstretched for the bag. Instinct took over. Tunde spun, clutching the box tight, and ran. The cemetery erupted into chaos. Lanterns swung wildly. Voices roared like thunder. Feet pounded the earth as they gave chase. Tunde leapt over gravestones, dodging the shadows, his breath ragged. He could hear them gaining on him. Then suddenly, someone grabbed his arm from the side and yanked him down behind a crumbling tombstone. Quiet. A woman's voice hissed. Tunde turned and found himself staring at a frail old woman wrapped in a faded brown wrapper. Her eyes glowed strangely in the moonlight. What covenant is this? Why is my wife part of it? She looked at him with tired, heavy eyes. Before she married you, Kemi was desperate for fame, and she was initiated by a member of your family. There are circles in this city that promise power, safety, and wealth. but they demand a price. For her, it was to never bear a child freely. Every intimacy must be bound always with the seal, always with the barrier. That is the silver pack, you see. Tunde shook his head violently. No. She is kind. She loves children. She teaches them every day. She wouldn't. She did not know the true cost. She wanted wealth, protection, and fame. She thought she was safe. But each time she obeyed, she renewed the covenant. That is why she cannot give you a child. Slid down to the ground, the box clutched to his chest. His voice cracked. Then how do I break it? A covenant is not a rope you cut with a knife. It is blood. If you try to break it, someone you love must bleed. And if you do nothing, the covenant stays. And your home stays empty. Tunde's world spun. The thought of never holding a child of his own burned his chest. But the thought of losing Kemi burned even deeper. He closed his eyes. Tears, stinging. Then what do I do? He whispered. The woman placed a trembling hand on his shoulder. You must decide before dawn. And as if to remind him of the weight of his choice, his phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a message from Kemi. Don't fight them. If you love me, please stay away tonight. I will carry this alone. Tunde clenched his fist around the phone. Alone? No, not tonight. He stood, his jaw set, his heart heavy. I am going back. Her eyes widened. Foolish boy, if you step back into that circle, you may never step out again. I would rather die with her, he said firmly, than live without the truth. Tunde walked in silence, each step heavy with dread. The night air carried whispers, like voices speaking just beyond his hearing. As he entered through the rusted gate, he saw them again, the circle, still gathered, their white gowns glowing faintly in the moonlight. At the center, Kemi knelt. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but her face held quiet strength. The man in the black robe raised his staff. Your husband, he said coldly. Do you come to save her or to join her? Tunde stepped forward, clutching the bag. I come for the truth. If she must pay, I will pay with her. The crowd murmured, a ripple of surprise. Kemi shook her head violently. No, Tunde, please, go. But the robed man raised a hand, silencing her. His eyes glowed like fire. Then bring forth the box. Tunde lifted it slowly, his palms sweating. The circle leaned closer, the air thick with tension. Open it, the man commanded. Mama Tola's warning thundered in his memory. Do not open it. Do not spill it. His hands shook. If he opened it, he might lose having a child forever. If he didn't, they might take Kemi's life. Kemi, he whispered, his voice breaking. Tell me what you want. Tell me the truth. Her sobs cut through the night. Tunde, I never knew. I was young, foolish. I just wanted protection. I just wanted fame. I was initiated by a member of your family. While we were dating, I never thought it would cost us a child. Please, forgive me. Tunde's chest ached. Initiated by a member of my family? He looked around at the circle, at their cold eyes. Then take me, he shouted. If blood must pay, take mine. The circle gasped. The man in the robe lowered his staff. You would give your life for her? Yes, Tunde roared. She is my wife. My only love. If she must suffer, let it be me instead. For a moment, silence hung in the cemetery, heavy and unbroken. Then, slowly, the man's lips curled into a cruel smile. Very well, he said. If sacrifice is what you offer, sacrifice is what you shall give. The circle began to chant again, louder this time, their voices rising like waves crashing against the shore. The ground trembled beneath Tunde's feet. The wooden box grew hotter in his hands. Kemi screamed, No, don't take him, please. The man in the robe raised his staff high. The covenant demands blood. And then, without warning, the box in Tunde's hands cracked open on its own. A thin stream of golden light burst out, shooting into the night sky. The chanting stopped. The circle froze. The man in the robe staggered back, his staff trembling. Kemi's eyes widened, her breath caught. Tunde shielded his face from the light, but the heat seared through him, burning into his chest. When the light finally faded, the box lay empty in his hands. Only the tiny bottle with the gold cap remained, glowing faintly. The man in the robe stared at it, his voice shaking. "The seal is broken," the circle wailed, some collapsing to the ground, others fleeing into the shadows. Kemi fell to her knees, sobbing. Tunde looked down at the bottle, its glow pulsing like a heartbeat. He felt its weight in his soul. He knew whatever came next, his choice had already been made. And then, from the darkness, a new voice rose. A woman's voice, soft but chilling. "The covenant is broken," it said, "but the debt remains." A figure stepped into the moonlight, her face hidden by a black veil, and as the circle parted before her, Tunde realized with a cold shiver that this was only the beginning. The woman in the black veil walked slowly into the circle, her steps graceful yet terrifying. Every robed figure bowed their heads, their voices hushed in reverence. Even the man with the staff lowered his gaze. Tunde stood his ground, though his heart hammered wildly. He held the glowing bottle tight, refusing to look away. Kemi trembled where she knelt, tears streaking her face. The veiled woman's voice carried power that silenced the night. For generations, this covenant has bound those who sought fame without wisdom. Few have ever dared to challenge it. But tonight, she turned her veiled face toward Tunde. A man has offered his own blood in exchange for his wife. Such loyalty is rare. The crowd shifted uneasily, their chants fading into whispers. Kemi cried out, her voice breaking. "Please, do not punish him. If anyone must pay, let it be me. He has done nothing but love me." The veiled woman raised her hand, silencing her. "Your husband's love speaks louder than your fear. It is his choice that moves the circle." She stepped closer to Tunde, her presence heavy as smoke. "Tell me, Tunde, why did you not run? You had the chance." Tunde's voice was hoarse, but firm. "Because love does not run. I will not leave her. If her life ends, mine ends with it." For a long moment, silence stretched across the cemetery. Then, the veiled woman extended her hand toward the glowing bottle. Tunde hesitated. Mama Tola's warning echoed in his mind. "Do not spill it." But something in the woman's tone, neither threat nor demand, but final, made him unclench his grip. Slowly, he placed the bottle in her palm. The woman lifted it high. The glow spread across the cemetery, bathing every face in golden light. The chanting ceased completely. The robed figures bowed deeper, their bodies trembling. "The covenant is broken," the woman declared. "Not by force, but by sacrifice. Not by fear, but by love." The golden light spread further, wrapping around Kemi. The veiled woman lowered the bottle. Its glow dimmed, then vanished entirely. She tucked it into her robes and turned her veiled face toward the couple. "You are pardoned, not because of rituals or bargains, but because his love has outweighed the circle's claim. Such love is rare. Do not waste it." With that, she turned and walked away. The robed figures followed, their lanterns dimming until the graveyard was empty, silent, and still. Tunde rushed to Kemi, pulling her into his arms. She clung to him, sobbing against his chest. "I thought I had lost you." "You never will," he whispered. "Not while I breathe." Above them, the moon slipped behind a cloud, leaving the cemetery in shadow. For a moment, it felt like peace. But as they walked back toward the gate, Tunde glanced over his shoulder. On the ground where the circle had stood, faint red markings glowed like embers in the shape of a circle still alive. The covenant might have released them tonight. But something told him their story was far from over, because he kept wondering which of his family member is involved in this. And somewhere in the dark, the veiled woman's voice lingered on the wind. "Love has bought you time, but debts always return." What is your view about this story? Where are you watching from? Do well to let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting stories. Stay blessed.